All right. We're live, everybody. We're live. What a good day to be in HEX and PulseChain, huh? What a great day. What a great couple of days. Chaos, but it's good. It's good. It's good FUD. What if I told you we could FUD our bags in the up direction? Seems to be what's happening, guys. I mean, it's actually based on fact, though. There's a lot of interesting developments going on. So welcome back, all you regular suspects in the chat there. And any new people that might be coming in, there might be a lot of new eyeballs coming into PulseChain and HEX, and so we got to explain the situation, control the narrative, and just explain what's honestly going on. That's what I'm doing. That's what a lot of other people do. We've got 140 content creators out there. So let's just say hi to the chat. Dix Insider, UFO to go. The UFO has landed. Brandon Mackey, now we can do 10,000x. Sure. I think I'd be happy with 1,000, but apparently, I've been saying 1000x like since 2 years ago, and then in the bear market people are like, oh well, maybe we're lucky to do a 10x, and then in the bull market people are going to be like, look, we're going to do 1000x. And it's so funny because it's one thing I've realized is that people's predictions are always going to get more bearish in a bear, more bullish in a bull. I think 1000x's from bottom to top are on the table. I don't think that's really changed if you check a video from a year ago. But that's from the bottom though, so PulseChain bottomed out at 4 zeros and a 3. And, these are just price predictions that are all made up, right? But I could see it reasonably going to 3 pennies, which if you measure bottom to top, that'd be a 1000x. And so even capturing a fraction of that could be life-changing in this ecosystem, whether you're in PulseX, PulseChain, HEX. I'm in all three. I feel like why decide between the winner? They've all got great features with them. Okay, they've all got great features. HEX has a double copy, so if you were already holding HEX, or if you get both HEXs, you can kind of benefit from that at times. Yeah, there's so much good to say. PulseX has the buy and burn function. PulseChain is the starting point. PulseChain is like the place. It's like the Ethereum, right? So everything has to be routed through PLS, like all layer ones. So that's kind of the spearhead, so to speak. And INC may still be the sleeper cell. We've actually got the largest gains today on INC token. Let's just go see what's going on over on the old statistics. Okay, here before you see a girthy green dildo selection. So pick which one you like. Weirdly enough, INC is bouncing back the hardest. But it's also not that weird when you count in, factor in the fact that it's kind of lowest liquidity. And PulseX is number 2, followed by HEX, followed by PulseChain. But it looks like INC was the most elastic and basically the most responsive to, it seems to be Hart's Law, right? Because it's heavily bonded to Pulse and PulseX. And I could show you guys that. I could show you guys why. Here, let's go to app.pulsex.com. app.pulsex.com. Oh my god, it's a list of links. How scary. If you guys want to go to app.pulsex.com and trade and do all the DEX stuff, you can click on the IPFS link, or you can download it on your desktop. So go to IPFS. If you're brand new here, just app.pulsex.com, click this link, and this will open it up on the decentralized internet, because that's how we do things here. So it makes it censorship resistant. It means that basically the websites can't be taken down by anybody. Because you can always run it locally on your machine, and you can always run it on IPFS if you just get an IPFS browser. But look over here. Look at the farms, okay, on the PulseX side. We've got INC PLS farms. Look at the bottom here. INC PLS and INC PulseX, and these are highly liquid relative. It's not highly liquid in terms of Bitcoin's liquidity, but low liquidity in the early days of cryptos is a feature, not a bug. And so you've got $8 million in INC Pulse liquidity. You've got $11 million in INC PulseX liquidity, which is lower than, of course, a lot of the PLS liquidity. It's even lower than the HEX liquidity. Well, it's about the same when you add them together. But so it looks like just INC blasted off from its 49 cent low, 45 cent low. It's, and this is the token with no use case, right? This is the incentive coin that rewards yield farmers, basically. But there's been a lot of speculation about, other people could add use cases one day. I'm not really, and by the way, I'm not buying this one. So don't get too excited about this, but, this could be a surprise for people, including myself. I'm very willing to be surprised by this. But yeah, INC did a 100% move in the past couple of days here, it looks like. But yeah, it did bottom out at what? Oh, even lower, about 40 cents, let's say. and it's so it also blasted off way higher. Again, that's the power of low liquidity and price elasticity, I guess you could call it. All right, let's say what's up to the chat. Aaron Hex, hello. Bob Sled, good day. Igor Bogdanov, dump it. We've got Igor in the chat, guys. The Bogdanov, one of the Bogdanov twins. I heard they passed away, unfortunately. It's kind of sad. You know the memes, guys. You know the Bogdanov twins. If you've been in crypto long enough, you'll know who those people are. Brandon Martin, hello. Hexual Healing, what's up? Oh, 1 second, real quick. I gotta give a shout out to a dude. Gotta give a shout out to this one guy. Rah Reefer Sir Stakes a Lot, and his brother Tracy and his wife Dipwetter is okay. Well, shout out to Tracy and shout out to Dipwetter. I've definitely seen Dipwetter on Twitter before. Dipwetter, what a good name. And yeah, shout out to that guy, long-term Hexican. Told him I'd give him a shout out. And who else? Dipwetter. Yeah, I don't see Dipwetter on Twitter much anymore, but he was there for years in the early days. So shout out to that guy. And Merry Christmas. I know I'm late on this one, to LC and Tracy from Reaper. Merry Christmas, LC. Merry Christmas, Tracy. And Dipwetter, we miss you, brother. But hey, seems like we're back. And, you know, we don't want to speak too soon, but look at how close we are to sacrifice prices. So if anybody's still scared, everybody wants to get out, now's your chance to exit if it's going to keep you up at night. But, guys, the proof is in the pudding. Like, this is how fast narratives can change. Sentiments literally can change overnight. And the reason that you see all these big green candles here is that Richard Hart has been proven with 11 lawyers from 4 different legal firms, from New York to Texas to California. You know, heavy hitters, guys, heavy hitters. One of them was called the most feared lawyer, top feared lawyer by BCI Investment Group or something. People that, you know, the SEC doesn't want to be messing with. Intimidating lawyers that have worked at the SEC, people that have a lot of experience in these cases, are fighting back. And so Richard's, you know, all the posturing, all the we will win, all the cryptic messaging, you know, people that believed they could see it, right? They knew Richard wasn't just sitting around doing nothing all day. And then some people just said, you know, they got scared and they said Richard doesn't have any lawyers, and they made up stories, and that's okay. I mean, people are still going to make up stories. So again, now's your last chance to sell before, if it's going to keep you up at night worrying about the SEC, which, by the way, can't shut off PulseChain, can't shut off HEX, can't shut off PulseX, can't really stop you from buying it. I've been saying for a while, like, the worst I feel like they could do is give Richard a fine, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. You know, people are placing their bets on the outcome already, and it looks bullish. It looks bullish, guys. It looks like Richard has 11 different lawyers, and they just submitted a response to the SEC, which I can go over. I've got a previous video. I launched it yesterday, so if you want to watch me read the whole thing, like all that legalese, I kind of try to decipher it and put it in layman's terms. Now, I'm not a lawyer. There's better lawyers out there. You could go follow Nuclear Herbs on Twitter, and he's going to have a good recap for you. In fact, let's go see what Nuclear Herbs has to say, shall we? Nuclear Herbs. Nuclear Herbs. All right. Nuclear Herbs. Nothing I say is legal advice. Retired attorney, Navy vet, probably just overall badass type of dude. Let's see. Well, Money Gang Crypto had a great breakdown of all the lawyers if you guys want to see who's defending Richard. So, you know, a lot of people, long story short, if you're new here, people were scared. People said, oh, SEC is suing Richard. That means for some reason PulseX and HEX go down, right? Because they don't know, you know, they don't know that these are truly decentralized products anyway. And it's just, you know, it's a scary thing that people don't understand, that, you know, the SEC doesn't actually even put people in jail. People are spinning their yarns, you know. They're saying, oh, Richard's going to go to jail. He's running from the – I love that one. He's running from the SEC when they didn't even serve him properly at the right location, right? Or he doesn't have any lawyers. He's hiding. Dude's got 11 lawyers and all the time and money in the world and nothing but drive to defeat the SEC. Nothing but drive. Nothing but ambition. So here's, let's say, good summary from Nuclear Herbs. Let's see here. I don't think Nuclear Herbs has put out anything too crazy yet. Hexologist has put out a pretty good summary over here. Go follow Hexologist. here's your summary. I'll summarize it in this video as well. Just super high level of the documents that Richard published. You can find them on courtlistener.com. Richard Hart, defendant, represented in a letter requesting pre-motion conference. All right. Hart developed blockchain software, HEX, PulseChain, PulseX, open source, decentralized software, by the way. SEC alleges that they're crypto asset securities. Okay. A recently made up term because the SEC, in their overreaching allegations, likes to lump everything in now. Even though you got footage of Gensler just a couple of years ago saying that about 75% of crypto assets probably are not securities. Now it seems like they all are. And it also seems very arbitrary. Like they sued Coinbase just alleging that like 9 or 10 of their top listed coins were securities. No rhyme or reason as to why, no explanation as to how they came to that conclusion. Just said, hey, Coinbase, we're going to sue you for breaking the rules. And you got to come in and register. But how do I register? We tried 5 times, Mr. SEC. And they never give any explanation as to how to register or what constitutes a security, right? Especially for this brand new asset class. So, Congress also, I think, agrees that the SEC should not have jurisdiction without at least developing some kind of a new framework, which hasn't been done. So all we've seen from the SEC is regulation by enforcement, they're calling it, okay? The SEC accuses Hart of misusing funds, and Hart's team argues that there's no corporate entity behind these programs, which is a fact. There's no HEX Incorporated. There's no PulseX LLC. There's no building full of people working for PulseChain every day. I don't get up and drive to my job at the PulseChain building because it doesn't exist, okay? Not getting paid by anybody. I just like these coins a lot. Like these coins, I want to see them do well. And I want to see a bunch of people change their lives and get financial freedom through crypto. I think that's the power of what HEX and PulseChain can do. But that's what breaks a lot of people's brains, is that they're not companies, right? And so a lot of people, especially just more traditional folks, they'll be like, oh, this Bitcoin thing, who's the CEO of Bitcoin, right? It's like, it doesn't work like that. Crypto is a decentralized network. We all run it. Every time you use PulseX, every time you stake HEX, every time you send something on PulseChain to one person or another, every time you run a validator, you're just using this open source communication software, okay? It's free to use, it's decentralized, and there's people all across the world using it. Here's a nice little globe representation, by the way. So for the new people here that don't understand, 51,000 validators across the globe are actually securing the network. All right, and this doesn't even count the actual users, which is much higher. We got 600,000 wallets, I think 11 or 12,000 daily active users. And we can check on some of the stats over here as well. Let's look at some of the stats. We've got 126,778 current PulseChain stakers on the HEX side of things. Okay, so there are 126K HEX stakers. Pretty impressive, growing every day. Even during a bear market, it's still growing. It's not diminishing. It might be growing a little less fast, but it's still growing. So now let's go to the PulseChain charts. Because HEX stakers, by the way, is the most important metric in the HEX world, because it's the amount of people that are actually voting with their money to hold HEX and voting and expressing their belief in the code via making a contract with themselves. Now, staking HEX isn't mandatory, but a lot of people do it to delay gratification, earn trustless yields, and protect themselves from their own psychology so that they don't have to be worrying about the day-to-day of, is the price up or down today? It takes you away from the trading mindset and gives you that more long-term holding mindset, because, as we know, long-term holders win as long as you're holding the right assets that, survive and stuff. So we got 12,000 daily active users, a little bump today. We've had, up to upwards of 38,000 daily active users recently. We'll see spikes in the daily active users, but that's an important metric on PulseChain as well. Daily transactions are up to 400,000 today. Let's see. PulseChain is slowly, barely inflationary. The current inflation rate of PLS is 0.65%. And that becomes deflationary the more usage the chain gets, because the more the chain is used, the more fees are burned. So one day soon, we'll probably see Pulse shift to deflationary, because it has to do with the usage, just like Ethereum, right? Because some of the fees on every transaction are burned. Total DAI inside of DAI from Ethereum that's been bridged into PulseChain, this metric is around 22 million. And that's a lot of purchasing power. But, if you use bridge.pulsechain.com, you can bridge all your coins over without having to ask any middleman at all. So bridge.pulsechain.com, you can bridge in Ethereum. You don't even need any gas money. You can use 0% bridge fees. All you got to pay is the gas fee on the Ethereum side one time. And then you'll automatically have 1,000 PLS deposited in your wallet by PulseCoinlist.com, by a bot that was invented. So if you bridge into PulseChain, you're going to get 1,000 free PLS automatically, and that's enough for gas fees. That's enough to swap your Ethereum directly for whatever you want. HEX, PulseChain, PulseX, all three. And we've got so many other coins as well. Like, it's crazy. But good time to be in the PulseChain ecosystem. I don't know about you guys, but I was in before the narrative change. I was in before the FUD was the reversal FUD. You know, a lot of people counted it as dead. A lot of people made up narratives. I don't think PulseChain and HEX are going anywhere. And look, I know it's still very early. Like, we're still underneath sacrifice prices. So do with that information what you will. It still seems like a good time to buy. Like, I'm still going to be funneling yield farming profits into PulseChain, PulseX, HEX for now. I don't know how much longer though. Like, I've been packing my bags for the past 6 to 8 months. I'm not saying it's too late at all because we're still below SAC prices. But I'm just saying, guys, I wouldn't want to miss out on this run, whatever it decides to do, whether it decides to do 100x, 1000x, or even more, guys. People are going to be saying that I'm not bullish enough at the top of the bull market, just like people were saying that, you know, I'm too bullish during the bear. I'm not bullish enough during the bull. It's always how it is, guys. It's always how it is. Carnival Games says, what's up, dude? He's listening while he delivers the mail. Hey, shout out to the mailman. Everybody loves the mailman. I mean, hey, it's one of the last bastions of American freedom. They can't legally search your mail, I think, but they illegally do it all the time. Gensler, smoke it, pickle emoji. I agree, UFO. Smoke it, pickle emoji. Hey, we got a top hat in the chat. Dan Smith, what's up? Red Squirrel, hello, good to see you. Finbear, what's up, Finbear? Cody Polly, finally, rocket ship emoji. I agree. A lot of positivity in the chat today. It's an easy day to be streaming, guys. You know, it's not easy all the time to be shilling your bags at the lows. I understand that. A lot of negativity, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of regret. But I hope you all don't regret your decision. And, you know, we should all be believing in these coins because of the founder, because of the coin's merit themselves. And, you know, with or without Richard, these coins are going to survive anyway. But it's just that much better that now we have this awesome legal letter and indication of Richard Hart fighting for your rights. 11 of his lawyers filed these papers today. Ironically, it's on the same day that the SEC's account was hacked. We'll see if it was a real hack. I'm skeptical that it was a real hack. But I'm also seeing from Money Gang Crypto, shout out Money Gang Crypto, he's saying that the Bitcoin ETFs were actually just confirmed to be listed on Bloomberg terminals. So there's been a pre-listing of Bitcoin ETFs. It could be today. Today was supposed to be the day. It was supposed to be between January 5th and 10th. Today's January 10th. We'll see. I mean, it could be also a little bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news. I don't get that excited about the Bitcoin ETF other than the fact that it permeates mainstream consciousness even more. So Bitcoin will become even more of a household name. Crypto will become even more of a day-to-day thing that's normalized in people's minds. But when you're buying the Bitcoin ETF, you're not buying spot Bitcoin, you're buying paper Bitcoin. You're not in the DeFi ecosystem. You're literally, it's just like having another stock, right? You just have a ticker symbol that you can maybe redeem for Bitcoin, but nobody's going to ever do that because that's just not what people do with ETFs. And they can also naked short it and manipulate the price a lot more. So I'm not like, you know, losing my mind over the Bitcoin ETF, but it is net positive just for name brand recognition and getting people interested in other coins with more potential. Like even Ethereum has more potential than Bitcoin in terms of the price pumps. But then you want to talk about brand new code, brand new tech that has not even started its bull run yet. PulseChain, HEX, PulseX, way more potential than Bitcoin, more potential than Ethereum. Cycle 1 coins. You can even say PHEX is a Cycle 1 coin if you want to. Now that might be cheating, but look, HEX at $0.015. HEX is at $0.015 today. Let me look at hexchart.com. Hexchart.com. Here's a lovely website that will show you the full HEX chart history. A lot of influencers, a lot of mainstream guys, when they go look at the HEX chart, and no shade, you know, a lot of people, they probably just don't know about this, but sometimes it's manipulative and like they're deliberately not showing you this. Most of the time, people just don't realize that the prices HEX is at today are the prices it was at in 2021, 3 years ago. So getting HEX today, and also if you count the penny and a half prices, it was at a penny and a half about 2.5 years ago. So, you know, you have a reset. You have a chance to reset if you want to get involved in HEX. You're basically getting in at these levels that were just after Big Payday. Big Payday was November of 2020. And so you're buying like early 2021 prices. And now it's early 2024. So, you know, it's kind of like taking a time machine back in time, buying HEX 3 years ago. Before, look at the last time. The last time HEX was at a penny, let's see what it did. When HEX was at this price in February 2021, it did a 59x, a 60x from this price in 2021. And then sometimes when coins blow past their all-time highs, they do blow-off tops. And so if there's a blow-off top to $1 or to $2, you know, let's say HEX just hits $1. Then you'd be looking at 129x from today's price. And that's only on the EHEX side, right? So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen on all this stuff? It's complicated. By the way, for the new people, we've got 2 different hexes. Do not be confused. Ethereum native hex is worth about half as much as a PulseChain native hex. So hex on PulseChain, we call it PHEX sometimes. It's worth about double of what EHEX is worth. EHEX is hex on Ethereum. So here's an interesting chart a lot of people might not realize. Let's see. Here's an interesting chart that people sometimes track. It's the ratio of EHEX to PHEX. Okay, so I can go over here. Wow, actually no, that's not it. Let me go to DEX Screener. Okay, go to DEX Screener. That's where all the juicy new coins are. And you're not going to find a lot of these good charts on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. You got to be using DEX Screener to find like the good stuff and to get some pretty accurate on-chain metrics. I like on-chain metrics. I feel like, you know, the liquidity on-chain is much more accurate because there's no way of really knowing how much liquidity these centralized exchanges have. They could say they have one thing, but they lie about their liquidity all the time. Like if there was ever a bank run on a lot of these centralized exchanges and like even 10% of the people tried to withdraw at the same time, I don't think a lot of these centralized exchanges would have the liquidity to fund all these people. Anyway, here's the EHEX PHEX chart right in front of your face here. No, wait, that's not it. Shit. Here we go. EHEX HEX. Okay. This is EHEX charted against the HEX native to PulseChain. All right. And if you look up in the corner here on the top bar, you'll see a USD/HEX. So right now we're looking at the EHEX price in US dollar terms. It's up 36% today. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. But if we switch that to the price in HEX, okay, that's how you see the ratio. And this ratio, I like this ratio personally at around 0.5 to 1. Like I like it when EHEX is worth about half of a PHEX, which it seems to have been kind of mean reverting to 50, or 0.5 rather, 50%. Let's just look at the daily chart just to give you an example. Let's make this a little more readable. So you can see here, I mean, it really looks like the majority of this chart at around the 0.5 mark. It has spent almost as much time below the 0.5 mark as it has above. We could see it even testing off resistance. Let me just draw a line so you could see how many times this thing has tested resistance and support. It seems to be like a magnet at this price, okay? We'll make this line a little bigger. And the reason I like this ratio is because that's where I put my liquidity position in. So I've got an EHEX PHEX liquidity position just sitting there. It's actually made me money. And I think I put it in maybe around September or something. I don't exactly remember. It was at least like 3 months ago. And I've added to it since. And I try to add to it around the 50% mark. And so far that's worked out really well. So, you know, some people say maybe one day EHEX will reach 1-to-1 parity with HEX. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm happy even if it stabilizes at 0.5 to 1. That would be a great win for me and everybody that was staked before May 13th. All the long-term HEX holders are probably very happy with that because it's like y'all just 1.5x your total HEX net worth for free just with the airdrop, just by having 2 tokens now. And so these 2 tokens combined, it's worth, what's the combined HEX price worth? I don't know if there's an easy way to see combined HEX price. Like if we go to CHEX, checks, that's the combined HEX price. Checks HEX combinator. So the combined HEX price is 2.2 pennies today. Once we get back up above 3, there's not a whole lot of resistance after that. Up until, I mean, who knows, guys? Who knows? But I'm just thinking out loud, kind of stream of consciousness here. Let's go back to the chat. What's going on? Gensler, smoke it. Alice says, love the channel. Thank you. I appreciate that, Alice. Thank you very much. Vivre says, glad to be a part of this community. Thanks for your contribution. Thank you, Vivre Ensemble. Pineapple Love says, yes, Carl Malone. What are we talking about in the chat, boys and girls? If you accumulated through the stupidly cheap prices, congratulations. Yep, Tara and I agree. I love those buys at 0.0003. I was buying around that 0304 range. Let's see. I'll show you guys, because I don't know if it's ever going back to this range, but we're at 0.00008 today. We're like 15% away from, wow, we are literally 15% away from sacrifice prices. Like, I don't want to jinx it, but we could get there pretty soon. This over here, guys, look at this big red candle. This was the SEC FUD dip. This was Mr. Gensler protecting you right here, right where this little yellow arrow is here. Yeah, this candle right here, that was your protection. That was your investor protection with the SEC intimidating and trying to use the chilling effect to stifle innovation in the USA. And we made a pretty good recovery since then. We're right back to 8.5. And it looks like it actually took a dip right exactly at sacrifice price. So it's kind of a double whammy there. You know, sacrifice price, people like to say, is 0.0001. That's 3 zeros and a 1. Because that's kind of what people, you know, bought in the, essentially, effectively in the sacrifice phase. But on top of that, it looks like the SEC, you know, caused that dip at that exact price, at that exact 0.001 price as well. So it's going to be very significant when we tap that. I would expect a resistance point there, but it might not, right? It could also just slide right through that resistance point to something else. But if it does go right past this, I think it'll retest as support. Like, let me draw a line just so I don't have to keep my mouse there. If we do go past this, I would expect this nice even 0.0001. If it's not resistance, you know, it could slide past and then bounce back down and become a support line. That's another option. But there's a lot of significance to this line psychologically, and just, I didn't even realize that the 60% SEC dip was exactly at that price too. Kind of remarkable. But yeah, it's only been not even 8 months. So you're buying a coin that's less than a year old. It's already got better metrics by some measures than a lot of other layer 1 blockchains. Like, it's got similar daily active users as Cardano, which has been around for 5 years, 6 years now. It's got more daily active. It's got more volume than Ripple, which has been around for 13 years. No, that's a lie. It's been around for 10 years, I think. 11 years, maybe. We're doing better by on-chain metrics as a newer coin than a lot of people realize. So pretty good. A lot of the fundamentals haven't changed. Hey, Wolf Ramos, thank you for the sub. Thank you for the subscription. Let me turn my sound on so I get those notifications. PulseX is the sleeper. Yeah, PulseX is good. I mean, PulseX, if you own it, it's like owning part of the casino, okay? It's like buying a share of an exchange, except instead of the exchange fees going to a company, it goes to a buy and burn function, which in effect raises the value of everybody's coin that they're holding. So if you're voting on PulseX, if you're buying PulseX, you're basically saying, I'm bullish that this exchange will continue to pick up in volume. And there's already been, excluding the origin address, 3.14% of all total PulseX bought as buy pressure and then burned out of existence. So this coin is also only going to get more scarce, right? It's only going to get more and more scarce. There's never going to be any new PulseX created. And we've already got 3% of circulating supply. 3.14% is gone forever. It's never, ever coming back. Let's take a look at the stats for PulseX. Okay, so total volume is over $8 billion, $8.3 billion. And the daily volume today is $23 million of daily volume. So of this daily volume, right, what's basically happening is 0.06% of that daily volume is always going to buy and burn pressure. So like, I don't know if I can do a quick, let me get my calculator out. 23 million times 0.00006 equal. So it's like not that much today. It's like a couple $1,000s of buy pressure today, but that's not zero, right? It's not nothing. And just eating it up slowly but surely. And when you look at the $8 billion total, it adds up to a lot more. I'm not going to do the math right now because it's too hard to talk and do math at the same time. So PulseX is the sleeper. Yes. D'Artagnan, good to see you. He says hit the like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Einar says 3 golden boys. 3 golden boys indeed. 3 golden boys indeed. Manny will be disappointed. I don't know who that is. Bruce Lee says $50.3 million volume on PulseChain. Oh, you mean today? Yeah, it could be right. It could be right on that. Maybe this isn't showing me the right thing. Let's see. Oh, you mean Manny will be disappointed? I thought you were talking about a guy named Manny. Market Sniper missed his target. I don't know who that is either. I don't know who these people are. You guys are talking about people I don't know. Chad, RH versus Virgin Gary Guzzler. That's right. Chad Richard Hart versus Virgin Gary Guzzler. DCA time, Timothy Harris, mostly due to your content and course. Thank you, Timothy. Glad to hear that positive review. It's just the stuff I teach people all the time, right? Whether it's live streams, but a lot of people like the course as well, hexpassiveincome.com. If you're brand new to crypto, that's specifically geared for the brand new people that don't know where to start. Because you can get all the information online for free, but it's all jumbled around. It's hard to follow. And if you dive into live streams like this, it might be hard to understand what's going on. So hexpassiveincome.com, great starting point. It's like 25 plus hours of pre-recorded content from me. All the links are right there, and it'll tell you how to do crypto the right way. You know, real DeFi, not your keys, not your coins, protecting your assets, not getting scammed. But yeah, anyway, guys, the talk of the town is Richard Hart. The talk of the town is this letter. I'll pull it up so we can all read it together. So we, the defendants, are defending Richard Schuler, and let me just pull up a summary. Okay, let me pull up a quick summary. Blockchains are publishing software. We've got blockchains are publishing software. That's what the first paragraph is basically saying for computer code, and computer code represents things that are protected, like speech and code and art, literature. You could publish words in a blockchain. You could publish whatever you want in these blocks. And it's like the ultimate source of truth. That's what the blockchain is. It's the ultimate source of truth for human beings because you can't lie. It's all transparent. Public blockchains we're talking about. It's like a database with no edit rights. You can only read, write. Well, you can only edit going forward. You can't go back and change something. You can only append to the database. You can't go back and edit it. So you can read, write, but you can't edit. Improper service is another topic. They talk about how the SEC, from a legal standpoint, did not do the proper service of giving Richard the papers. A lot of us don't even think they got the right address, which is hilariously bad, for the SEC there. Not a good look for them to just leave papers at a random Finnish police station, which may or may not have anything to do with Richard Hart and his actual location. A lot of people think he might not even live in Finland. So they got the address wrong, maybe. And it's just like they didn't actually serve him anyway. No entity, there's no centralized entity. They go on to talk about there was no user info collected on the websites. There were no payment transactions. There were no contacts from Richard Hart that he delegated within the US to be part of any entity. So, usually a securities offering involves contacts from an entity or from a forum, a common forum. And their weak argument on the SEC side is just because a couple of people from the US, along with many, many more people globally, it's actually a higher number of people outside the US than inside the US, most likely. There's no way to prove that, though, but most likely. A lot of these people that sacrificed, okay, they didn't sign anything. They didn't sign an investment contract. They didn't give any user information. There was no typical markings of an SEC investment contract. And on top of that, Richard has also not lived in the USA for over a decade. He's not done business in the USA for over a decade. So they're trying to get him on this stuff where they don't technically have jurisdiction. These lawyers are arguing. Richard Hart's defense is arguing, okay? They're also arguing reckless regulation by enforcement that harms not only Hart, but also the community by trying to tie these things in as alter ego identities, okay? So they're trying to tie them in as alter ego identities, meaning companies, right? But under the SEC's own definitions, what these things are talking about are an asset token and 2 software protocols. So the SEC in the complaint has defined them as software protocols and digital asset tokens, PulseX, HEX, and PulseChain. But then they're also saying that they're alter ego identities. So this letter is saying, well, how the hell can a software program be an entity, it defies logic and precedent. They say there's no factual basis in the complaint for calling Mr. Hart's alter egos, for calling these things Mr. Hart's alter egos. And the SEC, in doing so, is an affront to the vibrant community that runs them. So they're incorporating the whole community, everybody that's trading on PulseX, everyone that's staking HEX or running PulseChain validators. There's thousands, tens of thousands of people globally using the software because it's open source and decentralized. And so they're saying, hey, you're not only messing with Richard here, but you're trying to tie these entities into tons of regular old people that have nothing to do with a corporation, nothing to do with the structure, never signed any investment contracts. And yeah. And so the non-existence of these entities aside, the complaint also lacks merit against them. So even if they were entities, the complaint still wouldn't have merit, but they are not. So, you know, right off that, right there alone, you could probably have grounds for dismissing the case. We're going to have to see what the judge says. So we pray to Judge Carol Bagley Amon. Judge Carol Bagley Amon. Judge Carol Bagley Amon. You know what? She doesn't look evil. She looks like a nice lady. So, Judge Carol Bagley, if you're listening, please, we respect you. And with all due respect, we trust that you will follow the letter of the law and give a just, I don't know how to say this legally, give us what we want. All right? We trust that you will. We trust that you'll take all the facts into considerations. She seems like, she looks like she's not evil. I'll tell you that. So we're going to hope that, the lawyers handle this appropriately and grant dismissal with prejudice. Dismissal with prejudice, because that's what the complaint warrants, because it's without merit. That's what they're claiming. And that would be the best possible outcome, is dismissal without prejudice. So, you've got these, all these complaints here, all these five bullet points in part 2, which I can explain very quickly. So other than, harming the community, alter egos being BS, Richard's not in the USA, improper service, blockchains are free speech and publishing software for computer code and communication software. They're decentralized. On top of all that, the SEC is acting outside of their jurisdiction, claims these lawyers. Okay, I'm not a lawyer. I'm reading you this thing. I'm summarizing it for you. No investment contracts were ever created. Okay, so this is all according to various case law as well. So there was no investment contracts, and they quote some cases about, let's see. They quote cases for, I can't even read that, Technefin versus Knight, SEC versus Edwards. So yeah, there was no contract signed traditionally, okay? No specifics provided. Specifics proving scienter, which is a legal word for, I guess, just specific facts alleged to prove the allegations of fraud intent. So no specifics were provided to prove the actual intent to do a crime. The SEC doesn't regulate digital assets. That's another one. That's a topic of debate. Congress has not explicitly granted the SEC authority to regulate digital assets. They're an entirely different asset class. And the word crypto asset securities is a recent invention, right, of the SEC, because it seems arbitrary. And they want to invoke the Howey test, which also, I didn't even see any mention of the Howey test here, but as a very last resort, if that were to be invoked, HEX, PulseChain, and PulseX would also fail the Howey test in terms of the no expectations of profit from the work of others' legs. And you could have countless clips of Richard saying that, countless specifics to prove scienter, I guess. Look at me using my big boy words to prove that there was really no communication of, hey guys, I'm going to do all this work for you. All you have is a bunch of quotes of Richard saying, I will never, ever, ever do any work for you, ever, ever, ever. I've actually got that quote in the amicus brief. It's a funny quote. Also, finally, it infringes on human speech, freedom of speech, and freedom of association, which is the First Amendment, signed by 11 lawyers from 4 different firms, LA, New York, Dallas, Washington, Santa Monica. That's this final page here. You can read all these guys' statistics. One of these guys, Quinn Emanuel, was voted as the scariest lawyer in the world. Who gives out that award? I have no idea. But they're scary guys. So old Gary should be pretty scary for old Gary. Let's just say that. And on top of that, we've got an amicus brief with 44,000 global signatures. Hey, thank you, VS, for the subscription. Thank you, VS. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's a good read, guys. It's a good read. If you want to use ChatGPT to understand words like, I didn't know what pro-hack vice meant. Pro-hack vice means, representing somebody potentially outside of your jurisdiction, because Richard doesn't even live in the USA, but he's got all these badass lawyers from the USA because they have all the connections. They've done this before. People don't like to mess with a lot of these guys, so it seems. And so I think he's got his ass covered pretty well, guys, pretty well. So anyway, what else is new? Let's go back to the charts. Let's go back to pulsecoinlist.com. Pretty awesome website right here, guys. If you want to learn how to buy PulseChain, go to the Buy PLS tab up here on pulsecoinlist.com. Click on Buy PLS, top right corner, and it'll give you all these different methods. So you can use Change Now, StealthX. You can use PulseLN. You could buy PulseChain with Cash App. There's actually a lot more on-ramps than people realize right now, and we're always adding more and more. Block Blend is an off-ramp, actually, so they let you buy debit cards if you ever want to sell PulseChain. Kanga, if you're not in the USA, you can buy EHEX, PHEX, PulseChain, and PLS, and PulseX, all from this centralized exchange. But of course, guys, get your coins off of the centralized exchange as soon as possible. They should only be used for a very short amount of time. Okay. You could also just buy Ethereum from any single exchange out there already and bridge it over on Tokens Express or bridge.pulsechain.com, and you can just bridge that ETH over and just do it the decentralized way. 0x Coast, this one is called gainpulsechain.com. It's a great centralized on-ramp because it lets you mint your own stable coins and just buy PulseX and PulseChain and PulseX directly from within the app, and it gets minted directly into your MetaMask wallet. So you don't even have to stay on the exchange for almost any time at all. Actually, you don't really ever have money on this exchange. Like you put money into a digital bank account here at gainpulsechain.com, and then it will mint you a decentralized stablecoin using that money that you wire in from your bank or, ACH transfer, debit card, credit card, whatever. They also offer connections to, Revolut, I think, or Wise, WYSE. There are a lot of DEXs out there. Pateus is a DEX aggregator. GoPulse Swap is another DEX backup. CowSwap is amazing on the Ethereum side. Been a big fan of CowSwap. KDP has also hinted that they might even be supporting PulseChain pretty soon. Apparently, it's on their list thanks to KDP. Shout out Katie. PHUX is another DEX. Rubik, haven't heard of these. Safe Trade, Simple Swap, Swap Zone, CoinTiger. I haven't heard of these. These seem like cross-chain swaps and centralized exchanges. Be very careful with these guys. Be very careful, but plenty of reliable ways too. My favorite right now is probably 0x Coast because it's you spend very little time dealing with money on an exchange. You just get your money over there and you can mint a stablecoin instantaneously and get your money into crypto after you set up an account, which takes like 5 minutes, right? You can get your money on there as soon as your money is deposited into the bank, which might take like a day if you do a wire transfer. You can instantaneously get a stablecoin minted or mint PulseX and PulseX directly into your wallet too. It's not like so there's no withdrawing, right? That's why I like gainpulsechain.com. You don't have to have funds stuck on the exchange, and you don't have to like withdraw anything. It's just, you put your money in and you say, I want to buy these coins, and then it automatically sends the coins to your wallet. It's almost like it does the withdrawal for you automatically. Ben Dubard, what's going on? Ben Dubard said, hit the like. Joe Doe says, PulseChain to the moon. Einar says, oh no, woman judge. Come on, dude. A lot of them are, a lot of the judges have been proven to be they've been holding it down for us crypto people, and they've been making the legal landscape a bit more fair, so it seems. So, thank God we've got checks and balances, right? Scary Lawyer Award, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know there was a Scary Lawyer Award, but it looks like Quinn, good old Quinn Emanuel, he won the Scary Lawyer Award. Shout out to Quinn Emanuel if you're listening. Black's Law Dictionary is a good read. Okay, good to know, Joseph. Black's Law Dictionary. Brizology says, Richard hired Law Team 6, the Navy SEALs of law. Yeah, true. Best way to check your PLSX sacrifice. Well, I mean, you could just look at the coins you have and just see how much those are worth. What do you mean? Just look at how many coins that you have in the sacrifice, or that you got distributed into your wallet. Like, I don't know if there's still the official sacrifice checker went away, If you go to pulsecoinlist.com, look on the top here. There's actually a check PulseChain balance. So if you want to just know how much all your coins are worth, you click on check PulseChain balance, copy paste your address in here, and it'll tell you if you got any airdrop tokens, you know, from the PRC20 tokens. So if you were holding like Chainlink or Bitcoin or wrapped Bitcoin rather, or if you were holding Pepe, or if you were holding CRO, or a lot of these ERC20s that are popular, Aave, Compound, they actually have a PRC20 counterpart that's worth not zero. So it's worth checking. You might have a couple $100 of free money, and then hey, you can swap that for Pulse and just let it ride. You know, and maybe try some other things out, PulseX, HEX. Yeah, I mean, for your sacrifice, if you really want to find how much coins you sacrificed for, go to scan.pulsechain.com, scan.pulsechain.com, and again, you just click on IPFS. I've got a link in my description, by the way, gorealdefi.com. If you click on that link in my description, you can get to all the good stuff. So gorealdefi.com. This will link you to all the IPFS websites and all these kind of helpful tips, all these helpful links right here, okay? So if you go to gorealdefi.com, link in description below, click on it, bookmark it. These are all your apps, okay? So if you really want to find like your PulseX sacrifice, you click on the Explorer over here, go to the Blockchain Explorer, okay? And then you would search for your address, copy and paste it right here. Let's take a random address, right? This is just a random address. And then just scroll down to the very first initial transaction. And that should show you your very first initial like balance, right? You can go to token transfers over here. And if that's what you're looking for, that's how you do it. But otherwise, I mean, yeah. It's I hope I'm getting that question right. I'm not really too sure what you mean, but I've been trying to figure out OtterScan for transactions, but not seeing anything from PulseX. Well, OtterScan might not show you as much data as scan.pulsechain.com. So just use the new, this is like the latest and greatest Blockchain Explorer. Try using that one. Yeah. You might also just need to re-add PulseX to your wallet. Yeah, that's a good point, Joseph. Just if you're wondering how to add a coin to your wallet, here you go. Let's go over to PulseX, all right? Go over to PulseX, go over to the exchange. Look where it says PLSX. Go on the drop down here. And, well, when you connect your wallet, okay, you'll see a little fox icon appear next to all these coins. You click on the little MetaMask fox icon. They get added to your wallet, and that's how you do it, right? So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, try to re-import PulseX if you're not seeing it. If that's the issue, otherwise, I'm not sure what else to do. Like, I don't know what you're asking. Maybe, I mean, make sure you're connected to the right address. Make sure you're connected to everything. You'll find it. You'll find it. As long as you still have your private keys, you're all good. You'll be all right. That's a beefed up team. Yeah, that is a beefed up team. Let's see. Let's go back to the old Twitter, huh? What else is happening in the Twitter world? Oh, yeah. $3.7 million of buy pressure coming from an address associated with the sacrifice address. Don't know if it's Richard. You know, the weird thing is that this money came from Binance Smart Chain. So what's happening is basically $3.7 million from Binance Smart Chain was found moving into other wallets and then buying Pulse, buying HEX, buying PulseX. So a lot of buy pressure coming in from some pretty big whales. You know, I don't know. The timing is crazy too, because that Pulse, PulseX, and HEX was bought like 2 days, 1 day before the news dropped about Richard and his attack against the SEC. So, you know, I don't know if that's like a friend, like an insider friend. Oh, look, Sami's got some leaked UFO footage. We've got a little alien dude in a jellyfish package. Aliens, guys. Aliens. I love the little alien sidebars, by the way. It's good to have a little relief in the whole crypto drama. Follow Big Pep Reloaded if you haven't already. Big Pep is back. Big Pep is an OG Hexican, kind of a no-nonsense dude. He sticks to the tried and true. He doesn't deal with a lot of the stupid BS out there. So if you like that kind of stuff, you know, different strokes for different folks, try Big Pep. Maybe you'll like how he strokes you. All right, Corey Costa, apology? Okay, you're fine, dude. Don't worry, Corey, you're fine. Pulse Alerts says, look at this Pulse Alerts, guys. Also, by the way, if you're not following this account on Twitter, Follow at Whale Pulse. Okay, this is PulseChain alerts. One of my favorite bots, other than the HEX bot, right? The Whale HEX and Whale Pulse. Follow both of them. Whale HEX is a different one. This will tell you all the people bridging in. It seems to be a lot of money, guys. Look just today. In the past 4 hours, we've got 176K USDT bridged to, oh, that's back to Ethereum. Boo. Got 110K DAI bridged to PulseChain. We've got 166K DAI bridged to PulseChain. And, people are bridging in all the time. Let's look at the bridge statistics, shall we? Bridge statistics currently sitting at $82 million of net stables bridged in. And that also includes the value of the Ethereum bridged in, the value of the Bitcoin, and the value of the CST minted. Now, one thing we don't see here yet is USD. Oh, yeah, we do. Oh, my God. Go Pulse. Shout out to you, man. Always blowing me away with this. I always find something new on gopulse.com that I didn't realize. So today I learned that if you look at the bottom here, we've got $25,800,000 of USDL stablecoin. And this is a stablecoin that's all backed by People's Pulse. So they're taking out loans against themselves. Hopefully they're highly collateralized. Come on, you guys. I know you got to be highly collateralized out there. You know better. If you're sitting at 110%, you're going to get wrecked. Be careful. Be careful. Get a nice, safe collateral ratio, maybe like 5x or above. And be careful because crypto can drop 50% in a couple of days. It can drop 90% sometimes. And if it did that, would you be safe? But what a lot of people are doing is they're minting USDL. And it's a project called Liquid Loans. Check out liquidloans.io. And that's $25 million worth of potential buy pressure. Probably half of that is sitting in the stability pool. Probably half that is about sitting in the stability pool. Let's see. Liquidloans.io. Let's see how safe everybody's being over here. You guys using protection over on Liquid Loans? Or are you gonna get an unwanted gift? Let's see. Go to website. Yeah, go to what? No wait. Launch mainnet. All right. I don't have my wallet. Oh, here we go. 311% seems like they're calling that high. That means everyone's on average 3x over collateralized, meaning if they withdrew $1,000, they've put up about $3,000 worth of pulse to back it and take out their loan. Let's see. You've got a big pump, 40% pump on loan token today. You've got USDL sitting underneath $1. That could be arbitraged. You could always buy USDL when it goes under $1 and redeem it for $1 worth of pulse. The stability pool currently has... Let's look at here we go. The stability pool is paying out pretty high, 132% APR. Let's see. The USDL supply is 25.8 million. But how much of that is locked in the stability pool total? Staked USDL, 21.7 million. Oh, so most of it. So 85% of that is actually staked. That's probably a good thing. That means that, it's all ready to buy back up any PLS loans that are defaulted on. Any vaults that get defaulted on, that 21 million staked is going to buy that back and protect the price. So things are looking actually healthier than they were a month ago for Liquid Loans. Shout out to Liquid Loans team. I also just got a hat in the mail from somebody I forgot who. Crafting with Crypto. Shout out to Crafting with Crypto for the Liquid Loans hat. Maybe I got to wear it or something, but I'd have to go into the other room. I don't want to leave you guys for 30 seconds. What would you do without me? Just kidding. All right. Go Pulse. Let's just look at these nice green candles, guys. Let's just pay some respect. Respect the pump. You have to respect the pamp. Coffee says that I use 0x Coast yet to actually buy PLS. I've used it for smaller amounts. Like I've bought like $100. I've deposited $100 like 4 times onto 0x Coast, and it's worked every time. I did have in the early days there was an ACH issue. It took like 3 days, but that's how long ACH takes, So wire transfers are faster, and I don't have a Revolut account. I don't have I just made a Wise account, so that might work even better. I think Wise might be more instantaneous too. But yeah, Mark, I have used it, tested it myself. I've minted CST and I've bought Pulse with it. And it's even easier now too because you can just buy PLS directly too. NapTube says, love Big Pep. Cool. Doozy says, thanks, I'll try that. Yeah, I hope it works out for you, Doozy. let me know. I guess you can shoot me a DM. I'll try to answer it. Let's see. Crypto Knight says Ruffle. It was built to do a 10,000x. You know, we haven't heard Richard say anything about 10,000x Pulse, and I'd be very happy with a 1,000x. But you know, I'll take a 10,000 too. I won't complain about 10,000. Right? I'm just saying, realistically, like 1,000 would be amazing. 1,000 would be awesome. And I'm talking about one cycle, by the way. 10,000 is very possible if we're talking about 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. 10,000 is very possible. Just got to keep the dream alive, right? Keep the community going, keep the narrative messaging, keep banging the drum, keep beating the dead horse. Guys, repetition, repetition, repetition. It really does matter because there's always new people coming in. So explaining the value of HEX, it's a store of value coin. It's a better Bitcoin. PulseX, it's a better Uniswap with a buy and burn function. PLS, it's a better Ethereum. Cheaper, faster, world's largest airdrop. Explaining these things, INC is the liquidity farming token. Explaining these things on repeat is what helps new people a lot. So imagine all the new people out there. Just imagine the millions of people that have yet to be exposed to PulseChain, PulseX, and HEX. You guys are still so early, you don't even know it. Like, we are incredibly early on this. We're below sacrifice price, and the ratio of people in to people not in is low. I mean, compared to the world's got what, 8 billion people? And we're expecting a pretty massive bull run. In the macro, the Fed's going to print interest rates, or the Fed's going to reverse interest rates. They're going to print money again. And, you know, we've got wars to fund. We've got elections to prop up and make the incumbent look good. People are losing faith in bonds even, it seems. So all this extra money, Janet Yellen's going to have to, I think she's going to have to do something about the bank term funding program, which basically lent a lot of fake value USD to the banks because they were able to, you know, write down whatever USD their bonds were worth at the time instead of their current value. Something's going to have to happen where there's going to have to be a big shakeup. Arthur Hayes thinks that, you know, a couple of too big to fail banks might fail. You know, maybe the smaller banks might fail. Maybe just one or two. And then that would be an excuse for the Fed to come up with a creative way to do quantitative easing again without calling it quantitative easing. So the macro's lining up perfectly. You've got the Bitcoin halvening, you've got the Bitcoin ETF on top of that. And you could almost call that macro at this point because that's how mainstream Bitcoin is. You could call that macro for sure. You know, everybody knows about the Bitcoin halvening. It's baked into the code, coming in April. And it's an election year, okay? So things are all looking good. Things are all lining up for a good bull market. And you guys watching are positioned in something that is primed to pump massively. Huge community, 140 plus content creators. There's over 300 projects being built. And I want to show you guys proof of that. Just here's a visual representation. Back to pulsecoinlist.com. Let's go to the ecosystem. Click on ecosystem. We're going to wait for this to load. View map. So here's the map. Projects built on PulseChain. You've got DEXs, analytics, DeFi. About 60 different DeFi projects. On and off ramps, content, wallets, privacy, community, marketplaces, NFTs, bridges, mobile apps, gaming, dev tools, HEX stuff, NFTs, NFT collections, and of course meme coins. No shortage of meme coins, but you know, if you're into that, maybe you start there, maybe you end up with some HEX and PulseChain, some long-term type of stuff. Long-term thinking, guys, long-term thinking. Easier said than done. A lot of people still don't agree with that. A lot of people think crypto is all a joke. There are some things worth holding for the long term, okay? I believe that's these four right in front of your face. Maybe not INC, but hey, INC has been hinted at being potentially the voting token if, you know, voting were to ever get implemented on PulseX. Because technically it had the fairest launch. Like, the only people getting INC are the yield farmers providing liquidity, taking the risk of providing liquidity and getting INC for that. And if these people are hoarding INC on top of that and not dumping it, like, I've sold a lot of INC for more PulseX, and HEX, right? I've done that quite a few times, but part of me wants to keep a little INC now because it's almost back at $1 already. Jeez, my God, it's almost back at $1. 50% up in one day. And it only costs $1,000 to be an INC whale, by the way. So that's another thing. God whale, if you're listening, INC might be the easiest token to pump. Any whale, really. if you're looking to create a nice girthy candle and you're wondering which coin to do it with, well, INC is heavily bonded to Pulse and PulseX, and it seems like you could make a bigger splash in a smaller liquidity pool. Let's see how small this liquidity pool is here. What was it, $18 million? We got to go back here to find out. Keep in mind, $11 million plus 8, let's call it $20 million of liquidity, as opposed to much more in PulseChain. So just saying, could be the spearhead for a benevolent whale to kick us off. Maybe that's a bad idea. I'm not a whale, so maybe that's a terrible idea. Don't just listen to me. But hey, if anybody out there wants to pump our bags, let's start that conspiracy really quick. Hey, Shaka Vibes, thank you so much for the tip, dude. Shaka Vibes, bro. Nice, man. Good to see you in the chat. Shaka Vibes, keeping the vibes alive as always. Thank you so much for the tip. Much appreciated. PulseChain less than 150%. I think he meant 15% off bottom. Wait. 150% off bottom. And still 30% under SEC price. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That is true. That's a good way to put it, I guess. We've 150% off the bottom. And still, well, right now it looks like it's 15% under SEC price. You know, if SAC, I mean, unless you're counting, maybe it has to gain 30% from here, but it's 15% below, I believe. Yeah, I could be wrong there. Jory, good to see you, Jory. Follow the PulseChain Foundation. Yep. We might be changing the name on that if I have my way. Might call it the Pulse Research Foundation or something. But yeah, some big things happening over there too. You know, they're trying to get some work done with a couple of exchange listings on mainstream exchanges, which, you know, you shouldn't be using them, but it's good for eyeballs and it's good for fiat on-ramps, okay? Fiat on-ramps are still important, but using centralized exchanges themselves is not important. It's not good to do. So while centralized exchanges can double as fiat on-ramps and be useful, you should not keep your funds on there for very long at all. You know, somebody once compared them to a public bathroom. You just go in, you do your business, and you get right out. You don't really stay any longer than you need to, okay? Weird, MetaMask did change something because it was showing a balance about a month ago. Are you sure you're on the right address, though, Doozy? Like, are you sure you're on the, like, you might have multiple MetaMask addresses. Are you sure you're on the right network? Go into the upper left-hand corner and make sure you're on the PulseChain network. That's a common thing. Sometimes people don't realize that they're still on the Ethereum network. Or maybe you're on some other random, like, test net or something. Make sure you change back to the PulseChain mainnet. Let me know if that works. Let's see. I sold all my INC for HEX and PLS. Yeah, I've been doing that a lot too, man. But Soylent Green. Soylent Green is people. I'm keeping some INC now. I've got like this stack of INC that I haven't sold yet. I think I'm just going to keep it. Fuck the ETF news. All that matters is preparing during the bear. That's exactly right, man. That's honestly, dude, Michael, just keep it simple. The ETF news is for normies, guys. The ETF news is normie stuff. And if you're buying the ETF, God help you, man, because that is not real crypto. Do not buy the Bitcoin ETF. Do not get distracted, okay? It's a diversion. It's a tactic to take your private keys away from you and do crypto the wrong way. And don't tell me, oh, well, people don't want to hold their own private keys. Well, they should want to. So that's what we do here. That's what we teach people. Why would you not want to? Why would you want to risk all your money being stolen from you by either by inflation or negligence, or an exchange goes down or gets hacked? Just hold your own private keys, guys. It's not that hard. And yeah, good point there. You know, whether or not the ETF is today or in 3 months, it's kind of just like, I don't know what you call it. Pissing in the wind, pissing in the ocean. A lot of people, a lot of the Bitcoin maxis are jerking themselves off about it. It's not really going to have too much of an effect long term, other than brand name recognition, other than people becoming familiar with crypto, wanting to get involved. And that's where we come in. That's where we come in with a cheaper, faster, better Ethereum. We've got a better store of value than Bitcoin. I know they're going to hate that one. It's literally a safer store of value. It's modular code. The store of value coin should be on top of a layer 1 blockchain. It should not be the actual layer 1 blockchain itself, because then you're at risk to like consensus attacks on the layer 1 chain and Bitcoin's had 2 inflation bugs before due to people updating the code all the time. PulseChain is immutable with no admin keys, running flawlessly for 100% uptime for 4 years. I don't really see that anywhere else. I haven't seen that anywhere else. A lot of stuff gets hacked all the time. Crypto Coffee, should I be buying Coinbase stocks? You should, Brizology. Not anybody else, though. Just you, buddy. Coinbase. Yeah, look, man, I'm not into stocks. If you want exposure to crypto and you're a stock guy, I guess you could buy Coinbase. Like seems like a decent company, but I feel like Jim Cramer when I talk about stocks, guys. How funny is Jim Cramer's show? Do you ever watch Jim Cramer's show nowadays? It's like they play this rock music in the background, and they got this bald dude, like this old guy, like yelling about stocks, like, yeah, this one's a buy, this one's a sell. And it's just like, dude, how does anybody listen to this guy? It's a joke. Poor old Jim. It's like they're feeding him his scripts too. I mean, it's really like there's somebody watching Jim Cramer out there on their couch drinking a beer and saying, oh, I'm good. Jim Cramer said Bitcoin is bad. I'm going to sell my Bitcoin. Like, I guess that's some people out there. I just feel bad for those people. Soylent Green says, Crypto Coffee, the Bitcoin ETF is important for pension funds. Okay, valid point. It's a valid point. It's all about perspective, right? I mean, if you want to safely invest in your pension fund, it's like a quick, long-term, easy 2 or 3x. It's better than putting anything else in your pension fund. Sure, but I'd rather hold the coins outright. I'd rather try to teach people the better way, more opportunity. So you're both right. You're both right. Yeah, you're both right, everybody. What is that? Was it Albert Einstein? Like, genius is holding 2 contradicting opinions in your mind and having them both be true. I don't know if he said that. Could be pulling that one out of my butt. Crypto 7, I've no longer got poor syndrome. Hey, that's good to see. Good to see you, Crypto 7. Glad you've no longer got poor syndrome. Yeah, that's sometimes it could be deadly. A deadly dose of poor syndrome. Coffee, any comment on my message regarding PPLS? Let me see. I don't know. Let me see. PM? I don't know what your comment was. Oh, why isn't there a value on my PPLS on the PulseChain network in MetaMask? Well, PPLS. I mean, there's only one PLS. It's not like, I mean, okay, hold on a second. Make sure you're on the right network, okay? That's first. Make sure you're on the right network, and then, well, you're not going to see a US dollar value, right? But you should see the balance of your coins. And the reason you don't see a US dollar value is because MetaMask doesn't support that data feed yet. We can ask them to. If you guys want to go on the MetaMask forum, okay, the MetaMask help desk or the MetaMask forum, there's actually a ticket out there that if it gets enough upvotes, you can upvote it. And, you know, I've asked if they can help add the PulseChain US dollar values into MetaMask. But, you know, we have to all vote on that, right? I left a comment in the PulseChain forum, and it links you out to the MetaMask forum. So if that's what you're asking, then yeah. Yes, I do see the amount of coins. Yeah, okay. Well, then everything's fine. You know, it just doesn't show the US dollar value right now on MetaMask. MetaMask has not prioritized support for PulseChain. So it is what it is. But yeah, you can go pester them. You can go bother the MetaMask company. You know, I don't work for MetaMask, but you know, it is on their help desk forum. I submitted a ticket, and now everyone's just got to go upvote it. Can I convert it to WPLS? Yeah, you can. It's a 1-to-1. PM Squared says, thank you. You're welcome, dude. Yeah, you can convert 1-to-1 for WPLS. I mean, you just go over here. Go back to PulseX, right? And it's always 1-to-1, just like Ethereum, right? If you scroll to the bottom, WPLS, it's always 1-to-1. You can always exactly convert. You just unwrap and wrap PLS, because wrapping it makes it so that it's a tradable ERC20. So when you're trading Pulse for, let's say, HEX, what's actually happening in the background is PLS is being converted into WPLS, and then it's being swapped for HEX. That's what's actually happening, but you don't really see that all the time. So also, oh, that's another thing. Sometimes people are confused because they don't see the PLS that they think they have. Make sure you also add WPLS, because you might have WPLS sitting in your wallet You know, if you've used a protocol like PHUX, PHUX, or if you've used any other DEXs, they might not like automatically unwrap the pulse for you. So if you're not seeing some of your PLS, this is actually a pretty useful tip. Because it's happened to me before too, and I'm like, what the hell, where did my pulse go? Make sure you check out your WPLS balance, and if you want to consolidate that all back to PLS, you go ahead and do that right here. It's always going to be a 1-for-1, exactly 1-for-1, right? Pay like a 1 penny gas fee or less than a penny gas fee, right? All right, where are we? Okay, you totally answered the question. Thanks, Kissy Face. You're welcome, I guess. You're welcome, Melly Mel. Any word on the HEX conference? Did you have any thoughts? It was awesome. HEX conference was awesome. Hundreds of legitimate YouTubers out there, serious people, community members, just like you and me, showing their face, putting their reputation on the line for what they believe in. It takes courage, It takes courage to do what Maddie's doing and what everybody's doing out there, to speak truth to power and to speak reality into existence when the powers that be don't want you to. So congrats to everybody out there that didn't fall for the chilling effect. Congrats to everybody out there that didn't shy away and go hide because they thought the big bad SEC was going to silence them and stifle their free speech. Because they can't. They're not allowed to. Especially if you're not it's such a global community anyway, but all the USA brothers and sisters out there, shout out to all you guys for standing up, being brave, signing the amicus brief. And shout out to Richard most of all for doing the hard work and actually fighting in courts and potentially having a revolutionary case that could change the entire legal landscape of the cryptocurrency ecosystem. It really could. Richard's case could change and could affect cryptocurrency laws, not just for the investors, not just for the sacrificers in Pulse, PulseX, and HEX, but for everybody across all of crypto. So I don't know why everybody in crypto is not on Richard's side. If you're still hating him at this point, that's probably a problem with you and your own insecurity of not wanting to like the guy that you saw wearing a Gucci suit one time. And if you're still that triggered by a guy that wore a Gucci suit to get attention, and you're not realizing, take the time, listen to what he's got to say, listen to his actual ideals, because he really is fighting for all of crypto out there. I understand that it's easy to take one look at the guy and be like, oh, he looks like a scammer. He kind of does, but he also, I've said a lot of analogies. People once called him the Willy Wonka of crypto. It's kind of funny because he used to wear a top hat. I think Willy Wonka wears a top hat. And, he's giving gifts away for free to all the good little boys and girls, but only for those that are deserving, only for people that are worthy, right? A lot of people write him off. A lot of people talk a lot of shit, make a lot of stories, a lot of baseless claims, a lot of, he's dumping on your head. Zero proof. Okay, show me the transaction where Richard Hart sold. I don't see anything. So people just make stuff up because they don't want to like him. Or they think, oh, it's only Bitcoin. There's no other innovation that's allowed. You either buy my bag of Bitcoin or you're a scammer. That's literally some people's logic. But give him a chance, guys. Hundreds of hours of old live streams of Richard. You can go watch hundreds of hours of free content. I even reposted one of his videos on my channel, but that's only the most recent video. Go back 2 or 3 years. Go back 4 years. It's really fun to go back to 5 years ago, Richard, and see how much is consistent with what he was saying then and what he's saying now. Very little has changed. Other than he used to talk shit about Ethereum, and now he doesn't anymore. But Ethereum changed. Ethereum was a lot different in 2016. A lot different. So give him a chance. I think you'll realize that there's a bigger picture here, guys. The bigger picture here. This case is very important. Not like it's going to have any issue of whether or not HEX, PulseChain, and PulseX keep running. You can always keep buying them, keep using them because they're decentralized, right? By the very nature of what they are. But it's about sending a message too, and about standing up for yourself. So shout out to Richard. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard, for speaking truth to power. If you hate Richard, you're a Karen, period. Yeah. I haven't seen any good argument other than he made me feel an emotional reaction, and that was about where I stopped, right? That's what a lot of people, they see a flashy Gucci suit. They assume he must be a bad guy. A lot of the real scammers out there, a lot of the real sketchy guys, Sam Bankman-Fried was an effective altruist. that drove a $2,000 Toyota or whatever, virtue signaling, secretly stealing everyone's money. Like, be careful of these humble guys too. Sometimes the guy's trying to hide something, or they claim to be the most humble. What are they hiding? Abit says, is Richard the first person to fight for blockchain, you being freedom of speech that shall not be censored? Sounds pretty revolutionary to me. Yeah, he's fighting strategically. That's pretty cool. Yeah, usually people fighting for free speech, they get banned and stuff. Richard's been very strategic about the way he's been launching content. You know, he's got a backup YouTube channel. He's got all this stuff. He's got everything in place, and he doesn't speak too often. He doesn't monetize his YouTube channel. He just gives you facts, and he's really not that outrageous. Like, he's not saying stuff like Andrew Tate. Like, he's not saying Donald Trump level stuff. He's just telling people a better way to do finance. Parallel financial ecosystem, which he's built. We're all shilling it over here. So I don't think they're going to shut him off or censor him. But he's been releasing pre-recorded videos lately, I think, just to mitigate the risk. Also with the SEC, but it's another point too, guys. Now that the SEC case is on the table, now that Richard's responded to the claim, maybe we'll see a live stream. Maybe we'll see more videos, more content. You know, now that everything's out on the table, everyone's cards are out now. You might actually see more of Richard. I don't know. Hey, we got 100,000 IDR. Let's talk bribes. Fast Abdul is creating a project on top of PHUX. It's called 2 fucks. It's the first project to give 2 fucks. Now, it's a capped sacrifice, I think, at $2 million. I probably will not sacrifice, but I'm still deciding. But it's a protocol that I'm probably going to end up using because it actually maximizes your fucks yield. So for those that don't know, I'm yield farming on fucks, phux.io. I'm doing very well over there, but I could be getting more yield by maximizing like the ratio of voting power to liquidity. And so that's what 2 fucks is going to help people do. So it's kind of like the convex to the curve, okay? And if you want to make an analogy to Balancer, there's a protocol called Aura that it's a fork of. So 2 fucks is a fork of Aura. Fucks is a fork of Balancer. These are long-time standing, legitimate DeFi protocols. They add differentiated value. It's a similar analogy to what convex is to curve. Now, if all that is too advanced, don't worry about it, guys. You don't have to buy it. Don't have to do anything about it. I'm just saying that Fast Abdul's got a project that I've got my eye on, just because I probably am going to use it to maximize my yield. So, well spent bribe. That's right, Fast Abdul. This is for the people by Richard Hart. Yep. PulseChain, PulseX, and HEX are blockchains for the people. It's the freedom of speech blockchain. Truly decentralized. A lot of blockchains have one validator. A lot of these layer 2s, I think Optimism has like one validator. Let's Google that, shall we? How many validators does... One-handed typing, guys. Sorry, we got to hold the mic with the other hand. OP have. Optimism. It might be Arbitrum too. Operator, singular. Here's just a comparison for you guys. The OP mainnet, Optimism. The system has a centralized operator. The operator, the one operator, is the only entity that can propose blocks. A live and trustworthy operator is vital to the health of the ecosystem. That's not crypto. That's called bullshit. It's a layer 2. It's very popular because it's funded by VCs. Everyone's got to exit. Everyone's got to shill it. They're in with the ETH boys, okay? But this is what a lot of these layer 2s are. And in this case, the OP mainnet is run by a single operator. Does that sound decentralized to you? Government subpoenas the operator. Government says, give me all the transactions of person A, B, and C. It's not that hard to do, guys. Not that hard to do. withdrawals. Yeah. So, I mean, this is just, I mean, here you go. It's not even operators. It's just operator, singular, not plural. It's funny, guys. We have it very good in PulseChain. We have a very decentralized ecosystem. Oh, and by the way, the gas fees are 5,600 times cheaper than Ethereum, 9,000 times cheaper than Bitcoin. Hell, they're even cheaper than Arbitrum. They're even cheaper than Optimism. And Optimism's only got one validator. And we're cheaper than Optimism, and Optimism has one node operator. So this chart right here is the gas fees, everybody. You don't know how good you have it, especially until ETH fees get even higher. When it costs $100 to swap and it costs 1 penny to swap on PulseChain, and people are going to love it. People are only just finding out about it. Igor says, I'm spending my Pulse 1000x gains to take SBF's X beautiful Carolyn out for a steak dinner. Have you guys seen, oh my God, I'm going to show you some nightmare fuel. Let me go to my Twitter. Crypto Coffee's Twitter. Oh, by the way, shout out to Money Gang Crypto. PulseChain is kicking Solana's ass today. 49% up. Solana's down 5%. Could it be time to change? By the way, Solana also goes down all the time. It's also VC funded. It's also had 3 major hacks. Does anybody remember the wormhole bridge? The wormhole bridge lost hundreds of millions of dollars. That was a Solana bridge. How quickly people forget. Here you go, guys. You know who else has their eye on Carolyn Ellison? Mr. Guzzler, the semen demon. This is what was actually happening as he was, he was trying to, he was not looking at his Twitter. He was looking at Carolyn. And meanwhile, that pesky hacker snuck in and sent the tweet. I love how, look at, if you zoom into, he's got like Harry Potter Enu pulled up. He's got NFTs pulled up. This was, I think this was Beeple. Hilarious. Beeple is, you guys know Beeple, right? Back to chat. PulseChain and HEX, baby. Opinions on ETH ETF and its effects. ETH ETF will be good for Ethereum price. I mean, people are going to, again, all these ETFs, short term, they're buy the rumor, sell the news events. Middle to long term, they help permeate the idea of these coins through culture. So they give it more brand recognition. Okay. But again, like the ETH ETF, that's the final point. That's like the nail in the coffin for the price. A lot of the volatility becomes dampened when you get an ETF out there. So I'm in crypto for mad gains, obviously, like a lot of you guys are. I also like the freedom of holding my own money. I do. So freedom and gains is why I'm here. By the time the ETF comes around, after that pump, and after it kind of becomes a little bit more normalized, the price, Ethereum still might have, 2, 3, 4x potential, but it's kind of reached the top of its S curve. Like, think about it. Like, what's left after mainstream traditional finance absorbs it, right? And then a lot of the buy power is diverted into paper Ethereum. So less spot buying, less volatility and less potential for gains. So it's like people get excited about it because it's a short-term pump and then a short-term sell-off. But, it's got its pros and cons. I guess that's all I'll say. But that's the final step in the adoption cycle, right? Like when PulseChain and HEX get their public ETF, I'll probably be done buying by then. It probably won't be that attractive for me anymore. I'll be selling it all at that point. Slowly, of course. But I mean, think about by the time HEX and PulseChain have an ETF, think about all the liquidity they'd have to have. Think about all the mainstream adoption they'd have to have. Maybe it's 10 years from now, but think about how rich you'll be. You know what I mean? Think about, like, Ethereum is almost, what is it? It's 9 years old. I think it's almost 10 years old. 2025, it'll be 10 years old. So what do PLS gas fees look like if it gets the same level volume as ETH? I don't know, maybe 100x. Maybe gas fees will be like 10 cents. Still way cheaper than ETH. But then guess what? EIP 4844, sharding. Oh, did that just go away? Does this guy have it set to where if it goes lower than 1x, it goes away? That's hilarious. This guy is a smart dude. It's all about framing, everybody. It's all about framing. Yeah, I mean, if gas fees go 100x, oh no, now you're paying 6 pennies instead of 0.06 pennies, right? Ethereum fees would probably be $60. So, but also on top of that, you would absorb any future improvements into the Ethereum protocol, and you've got proto-dank sharding on the way. That's EIP 4844. That's going to lower the gas fees by an estimated 10 to 100x. And if it works out, you know, the new PulseChain clients, the validator and consensus client, can just incorporate that into their latest software. Like, the great thing about forking ETH 2.0 with PulseChain is that because we didn't reinvent the wheel, because Richard luckily forked ETH 2.0 and not Binance Smart Chain. How lucky did we get on that one, by the way? We also get to inherit any future upward developments in the Ethereum chain. And that's where a lot of development is happening. Like, Ethereum's not getting worse. Okay, they're only going to get better. It's just a very, very slow rate of change because you don't want to be messing around and you don't want to move fast and break things on blockchain tech. Believe in Yourself says, this offers fuel for humor potential. When people say, you mad, bro, you say, yes, for mad gains. That was a bad dad joke composed on the fly just for me. That was a bad dad joke, Believe in Yourself, but I appreciate it anyway. Bye-bye, America, once I get my gains. Oh, yeah? Well, okay, where would you go to? I'm actually curious. Where do you think is better? You got anything in mind, Einar? Soylent Green says, if the same volume like ETH price of PLS would also be at least 100x, meaning the price would be 10,000 times more expensive. Yeah, I mean, that could be true, right? I think the price multiple is more based off of the number of people participating. Not necessarily the volume, in my opinion. But there's no way to do an exact calculation because I think daily active users, you know, if you 100x that, then you 10,000x the price. Or you can 1,000x the price, right? Because you can have a little bit of a multiple on top of just the square. It can be higher than a square because some users put in way more money. Einar says RH is country. Yeah. If he does start a country, maybe I'll be a crazy enough cult member. Maybe I'll be a crazy cult member and maybe I'll go live in HEX. What would they call it? Hexico? That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? 9-inch go to 1 penny. I don't know, man. I mean, hey, thank you for the subscribe, Narinda Nath. Thank you, Narinda. Yeah, I haven't really been following the 9-inch price, but sure, anything is possible. I'm not holding any 9-inch, so yeah, there's that. But hey, 9-inch is a good backup for meme coins. It's good DEX. Shout out Hexy Bastard. Good dude. Let's see. I could link the bridge, but I'm not sure if I allow links here. Yeah, you go ahead and I think you can go ahead and link the bridge if you want to. It's bridge.pulsechain.com. So for people trying to get in, bridge.pulsechain.com. Richard Hartford POTUS, President of the U.S. All right, guys. Hexico, where free speech and libertarian ideology is protected. I'll go live there if I can afford it. I might get... sounds good in theory. Right, it sounds good in theory, but it might be a little bit of a freak show. Not that that's a bad thing either. Not that that's a bad thing. I really hope this is a super cycle. It's a Shemitah Jubilee. Is it? Yeah, it sure is a Shemitah Jubilee. So all that extra money, all that debt, all that government debt, they can't pay back these bonds without printing money. What are they going to do? Maybe, well, now luckily we have conveniently a brand new asset class for all this extra magic made up internet money to flow into. For all this government helicopter money can flow into this brand new asset class, separation of money and state, the fastest appreciating asset class of all time. And yes, we could be witnessing that. We could have an epic bull run, guys. A lot of other people are very bullish. Balaji is very bullish, I think. Crypto man Ran, he's now bullish on the PulseChain HEX ecosystem. We've got, who's that other guy? Arthur Hayes is bullish. Michael Saylor's bullish. If we're doing appeal to authority type of thing. Ran Newer. Who's that one guy? It's like gray hair, older guy. A lot of mainstream people, influencers, if you can even call them that, professional people are very bullish. Thank you for the subscription, Henry Roberts. Thank you for the subscription. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. We've done an hour and 29 minutes. Thank you all for coming. 351 live viewers. You guys are awesome. Hey, enjoy the gains. Enjoy the pump. And, we could shoot way back up to sacrifice price really, really quick. I would expect a correction, whether it's a resistance bounce off the sac price or maybe we blow right through it. Maybe we blow right through it and then we retest sac price as support. But keep an eye on the charts, guys, or don't actually. If you're really a long-term holder, just chill, stake HEX and chill. But good to see everybody. Like, subscribe. If you're brand new to crypto, hexpassiveincome.com. Get the course before it's too late if you want to learn how to do crypto the right way and if you want the confidence to do it right. And leave a comment, share the video, help your bags go viral. We're all helping each other pump our bags, aren't we? And shout out to Richard, guys. One last shout out to Richard Hart for taking on the SEC. Richard Hart has done it again. He's taken on the SEC. He's going to fight for your rights. 11 different lawyers holding the SEC accountable for their corruption and their incompetence. See you on the next one, guys.